Hello class, I welcome you all to this session. This session we are going to discuss a new chapter, that is emerging modes of business. So under emerging modes of business, e-business is one of the important emerging modes of business. E-business has given a lot of new dimension to the business world. It's conducting industry, trade and business using the computer networks, that is the internet. E-business is more elaborate term and comprises various business transactions and functions conducted electronically, including the more popular gamut of transactions called e-commerce. So e-business is wider than e-commerce. So under e-business only e-commerce, the term comes. So the scope of e-business is all business functions such as production, finance, marketing, and personal administration, as well as managerial activities like planning, organizing, and controlling, can be carried out over computer networks. So, any business function for that matter can take the dimension of electronic business because electronic business has grown to a global extent so that it reaches out every business function that needs to be done with the help of computer networks. Electronic transactions and networks can be visualized as extending into three directions, that is B2B, B2C, and intra B or firm's internal processes. Coming to the scope of e-business, B2B commerce, that is business to business commerce. Both the parties involved in the e-commerce transactions are business firms. So it's like one business catering to the other business. For example, for the automobile sector, you have some tire companies supplying tires to the automobile sector. Say, for example, MRF can supply its tires to various car making companies or even truck making companies. So it's like creation of utilities or delivering value requires a business to interact with a number of other business firms. So, if at all there is no tire making company, the automobile company had to think about making their own tires, which actually creates a lot of cost and a lot of research and a lot of expenses for that matter. So, B2B has given value, added value to this dimension. So any business that is done electronically, it tries to actually get the order placed, supplies, and also the negotiation, everything on an electronic mode. It reduces to reduce dependence on a single supplier. The automobile factory has to cultivate more than one vendor for each of the components. So it's like doesn't manufacture every component. So each component you should have a bunch of suppliers so that your production does not stop. Then electronic data interchange technology to send and receive commercial documents like purchase order or invoices. So it's like a technology, EDI, electronic data interchange. So this is about B2B commerce. The next one we are going to look into is B2C commerce, business to customer. It is entails a wide gamut of marketing activities such as identifying activities, promotion, and even delivery of products that are carried out online. Okay, it's like directly your Amazon and things like that are B2C. Business to the customer, the retail customers. So they place an order. Once the order is being placed, it's get delivered to the customer. So carried at a low cost and at high speed. So low cost and high speed is a deadly combination. So for any business, this is the most important thing which will raise the profits. For example, banking companies have, catering to the customers in terms of ATMs, which speed up the withdrawal of money. Okay, so it has helped a lot of customers. It adds value to the customers because previously there in banks there was used to be so much of crowd for withdrawal of money. Now it has reduced to a greater extent. Okay, now with the advent of internet, you have a lot of electronic payments modules that's been launched by each bank, and customers are really appreciating those efforts if it is safe, and if it adds value. The next one we are going to look into is the intra commerce. That is, parties involved in the electronic transactions are from within a given business firm. So it's like within the firm itself, if the interaction are done on an electronic computer networks internet, then it is called as intra commerce. Use of computer networks makes it possible for the marketing department to interact constantly with the production department and get the requirement of individual customers. So it's like one department communicates with the other departments to actually cater to the customer. So it adds value to the the communication that's been done, because everything is being authenticatedly done, and for future reference also it can be recorded, and it can be kept. So it's like a documentary evidence for one department which communicates to the other department, which ultimately leads to the better service to the customers. Okay, so these are the scope of e-business. So we have looked into three dimensions, directions, that is B2B, B2C, and intra B. The benefits of e-business, the number one is the ease of formation and lower investment requirements. So it's like very easy to form, and the investment required is very less. They do not maintain huge stock and block up their capital. See, previously huge stock needs to be maintained, warehouse have to be maintained, for which all cost was being incurred. But now it's not possible, it's not necessary, it's not possible, it is not necessary to actually maintain huge stocks, because if the order is finalized, it can be communicated to the supplier, and supplier will actually deliver to the customer. The middleman, the retail, the middle person, whoever is dealing with this transaction, need not maintain any goods at all. So it's like clearing a lot of capital blockage, stock blockage, and things like that. So it's very investment friendly. The second one is convenience. 24/7, it allows the customers to shop whenever the customer finds time to actually shop. They can do it through the electronic business, that is e-business, e-commerce. So they can purchase it whenever they require. So whenever you find time, if you want something, you can just have purchases. Whenever businesses firms also, they try to actually, whenever feasible time, they place an order, they communicate to the concerned person through the internet. The third one is a speed. Exchange of information by the click of a mouse. So anything you want around the world, you can find it over the internet. So it's like it's speed and exchange of information with just one click of mouse. Then the fourth one is the global reach and access. The internet allows to reach out to customers all over the world who have access to internet. So internet allows to reach out to customers all over the world who have access to the internet. So you can find new markets across the world, and you can have a lot of business deals which are beneficial for the company if it is being approved. So it's like if you want something, you can find it, you can negotiate the price across the world, and it will be delivered to you, or it can be set up and it can be made available. So it has a global reach and access. The fifth one is the movement towards a paperless society. So internet reduces the dependence on paperwork. See, a huge paper work has been reduced with the advent of the internet, and being digitalization the priority. So whenever you want to do something, or you place an order, there's no requirement of taking a huge printout and sending it as a post and things like that. Email, you just have to email it, you just have to follow it through the WhatsApp, or just have to communicate through the digital platforms. That has been working really good these days. So it's like a movement towards a paperless society is a very good move. Benefit of e-business, which saves a lot of trees, and pollution is reduced. So e-commerce tools are affecting the administrative reforms aimed at speeding up the process of granting permission, approval, and licenses also. So even the government has adopted this kind of e-commerce thing. So everything is done through online mode. The next thing that we are going to look into is the KPO, the knowledge process outsourcing. Oh, it is a new topic, or knowledge process outsourcing. It refers to obtaining high end knowledge work from outside the organization in order to run the business successfully and in cost effective manner. It refers to obtaining high end knowledge work from outside the organization in order to run the business successfully and in cost effective manner. So you want, you know, any knowledge related things which you do not know, you can outsource the knowledge from any service providing organization who are called as knowledge processes, and you can just outsource that so that they will serve you with the knowledge that is being required to actually run the business successfully and in a cost effective manner. Okay, it involves outsourcing of knowledge based operations to an independent service providing on a contract basis. So many audit firms, for that matter, they have a huge knowledge backup. So they many companies hire those audit firms to actually conduct audit for the companies, for the betterment, for the success of the company. And it will actually reduce the cost, and it will actually help in tax planning, and whether the company is doing good or bad, or whatever is the outcome of various business transactions, everything will be clearly done. So it involves outsourcing of knowledge based operations to an independent service providing on a contract basis. KPO services includes investment research services, business research services, data analytics, and legal process outsourcing. So even legal areas, you have process outsourcing, data analytics, business research services, and investment research services are some of the examples of KPO services. So we have come to an end of this session. I'll see you in the next video. This chapter is over. Thank you, class.